Sri Krishna, the mentor of Arjun, gives another beautiful idea. He explains, contact with sensory object sometimes gives one the sensation of cold, sometimes heat, sometimes pleasure, sometimes pain. Such senses, however, come and go, and they do not persist. Then how must one react to them? Sri Krishna then advises Arjun to bear with them, titiksha, because bearing with them helps develop strength of mind. This concept of titiksha has been repeatedly mentioned in this chapter. Krishna also says that if possible, one must try to remove them by some treatment, and if it cannot be treated, then one must learn to bear with them. Life is not a bed of roses. The capacity to withstand the nonsense of life is important. Thus, the Lord emphasizes that one must learn to bear with them, or else one may be destroyed. However, if we develop a little more strength, we will be able to stand the test of time. We all know that life is not fun, not all pleasure. We often face difficulties, and if we have already strengthened ourselves, we shall be able to tide over every difficult situation. If our mind is strong, emotions will not disturb our action. If our body is strong, diseases will not overpower us. The idea of a strong body and a strong mind, which has complete control over the sensory system, has been repeatedly stated by the Lord in this text. Lord Krishna tells mankind through Arjun, a little patience brings about great change. A weak-minded person often gives up in the face of difficulties. However, if one is able to overcome these difficult situations with patience and courage, he will win. And this kind of a lesson will teach him to become strong-willed, bold, courageous. Patience and endurance, that is titiksha, helps overcome any difficult situation. Control over our sensory system is very important. It strengthens the mind and inculcates the virtue and morality. One must have faith in oneself and bear with the difficult situations. This shall help in overcoming all problems and emerge victorious. In the next verse, the Lord states that the one who is even-minded in grief and happiness alike, one who is not affected by pleasure and pain of sensory objects like heat, cold, is courageous and can achieve immortality. Such a person can realize that the Atman is immortal. Individuals who have the capacity to withstand the ups and downs of life have a lot of courage. One needs to keep the biological body and the psychic system completely under control and realize that the Atman lies behind all this. The one who is able to develop this high character can attain spiritual development. This kind of a strength has to be built by the self. One can only be guided by preceptors, but the effort must be from within. The psychological energy, the psychophysical energy has to be cultivated by the self so that the best harvest can be reaped. And what can be the best possible harvest than realizing one's own true nature, the immortal self, the Atman? In the next shloka, Krishna reveals the concept of Sat and Asat, which in this context refers to the real and the unreal. He says, the real never is, and similarly, the word non-existent cannot be applied to what is real. Sat is the real and thus cannot be non-existent. Philosophers, however, state that change is the characteristic of the internal as well as the external world. Everything is perpetually changing. Thus, what we consider real is somewhat unreal because it is eternally changing. This is how we use the word unreal. It exists but is unreal. It appears but it's unreal. The philosophers in India, China, and Greece have delved in depth about the concept of real and unreal. According to them, the universe that one experiences with 5 senses is constantly changing. However, the Vedanta says that there is a changeless reality beyond the sensory levels. This world of reality is unchanging, infinite, and eternal. According to the Greek philosophy, there are 2 schools of thought. One talks about eternal, changeless reality, and the other talks about the changing world. The world changes constantly. We change biologically each day. But we as human know that though we have changed so much, the self is the same. We are the same. Man alone can discover it. Animals too change, but they do not find the unity behind the change. So, if this external world is unreal, then what is real? The imperishable, infinite Atman of the nature of pure consciousness, one and non-dual, from whom the whole universe has come, in whom it rests, and unto whom it returns at the end of the cosmic cycle. The word Sat has been used for the infinite, imperishable reality and Asat for perishable universe. A strong philosophy prevails on this day, which believes that the sensory world alone is true. Some philosophers, however, strongly feel that matter is just a symbol. There is only one reality in the world, and we call it the Brahman or Atman of the nature of pure consciousness. Shri Krishna comes to a conclusion that those who know the Tattvam, that is, try to find out the nature of things with the help of scientific investigations, have concluded that Sat or reality has always existed, and Asat is something which does not exist or is unreal.